Hello and welcome to another episode of Bad Comic Review. Just finished reading Saint Sinner issue 4. This is from Marvel's Razorline imprint in 1993. This issue is for the January 94. Now, we pick up with the Saint coming through some sort of gate, and there's a whole bunch of nonsense. So he takes some hippies' sunglasses, which supposedly turns the hippie's hair gray, although it looks exactly the same to me in the inking. Then he's supposed to find whoever is praying to him. It takes a really long time to get to that, but there's some guy working as an ad man who works for this really rude guy that thrives off of fear. And he had read an article about a sea monster in the Chicago waters, so he wants to make an ad for a delivery service out of that same scenario that ended with issue 2. But instead of just a guy getting thrown overboard, he's holding a package from the National Express. That's when the tentacles are coming up. So it's a little ludicrous. Then the Saint uses his weird plant growth ability to stop a purse snatcher and try and convince this guy that he is who he says he is. Then we cut over to the commercial being filmed, except the real tentacle monster grabs the actor, pulls him under, and presumably eats him. So the Saint gets there just a moment too late and manages to create some algae that turns into a glide sled that leads him across the water. The monster takes another victim as he advances the algae's evolution into some sort of breathing mask and goes underwater. Okay, that part was kind of neat. Then he goes underwater where the monster recognizes him as the person who betrayed him and left him to die. The Saint Sinner listens to the demon and tries to accelerate the creature's advancement. And then somehow a rift opens to the place called the Amen, where the other half of the monster was. But suddenly, the demon smiths pop out of a monster's mouth. Not real sure if it's the same monster or the one in the other universe, whatever. And the demons possess the director guy, who looks all crazy, and goes out to film the interchange. And he's all psychotic looking. And the guy that had been praying goes out to stop him, but it's too late. He rams his boat, but the demon-possessed man escapes. Presumably this prayer guy died. Very convoluted. I have no idea what's going on. Then the demon thing that was in the Saint frees itself as the two monsters touch. Then there's some sort of like weird squiggly line thing, and the demon comes flying back because it couldn't escape. Angel half says, "You've killed us, sinner," and he is expelled from his own body, I guess. Flies up into outer space before crash landing in what looks like a field. I have no idea what's happening in this book. It's trying too hard to be intellectual, and the story is lost in between. And it keeps happening. I can see they're trying very hard to make this some sort of pseudo-intellectual book like Sandman was, and it's just not working. Each issue is more convoluted than the last, and they don't really explain how he knows how to use his powers. He seems to just act on instinct, but they don't explain well enough what he's actually doing, the cause or the effect. So I never know what's going on. But the next issue is the crossover with Ecto Kid, so maybe that will make more sense. So we'll look at Ecto Kid 5 in the next episode or so, sometime this week. We'll look at both stories in one day. I'm going to try and do it on Thursday. Yeah, I can't recommend this book. It just doesn't make any sense at all. And if you think that it's being intellectual, it's not. It's just trying really hard to look that way. And the art's still pretty horrible. I can't tell what's going on. I don't like the art style. The writing is pretty awful. I don't know. I'm sorry. I do not like this book. Hopefully the next issue's better. But that'll do it for this episode. As always, thank you so much for listening, and we hope to see you on the next one.